Hi everyone, my name is Rosita Perez and today I will be presenting my informative speech on immigration reform. Oftentimes we'd hear the word immigration reform. We'd often think about political debates and or people living in the US illegally. However, immigration reform is really about the reviewing and updating of the laws that controls how immigration is managed in this country. So today, I will be explaining what immigration reform is, why it's discussed often, and the main areas it focuses on. This topic is also very personal to me, as my family and I were also born out of the United States and immigrated here 3 years ago. According to the immigration data, more than 1 million people immigrate legally and illegally to the US each year. Many of them adults who must completely restart their lives. Moving as a grown person was not easy, as my life was already established back home, and now I needed to start all over. Immigration reform refers to proposed changes to the U.S. immigration system. The system includes several legal pathways for entering the country, such as family sponsorship, employment-based visas, temporary visitors visas, and humanitarian programs like asylum and refugee status. Currently, the United States offers over 180 different types of visas, each with its own rules and eligibility requirements. Asylum seekers are also individuals who request protection because they fear violence and danger in their own countries. In recent years, the U.S. has received hundreds of thousands of asylum applications annually, which places a heavy demand on the system. One of the biggest challenges in the immigration system is the processing time. According to government reports, some visa categories and asylum cases can take several years to be resolved. Immigration courts alone have a backlog of 1 million pending cases, which causes long waits and uncertainty for the families. From my personal experience, my own process took about 2 years and required a whole lot of paperwork, and the process was also very expensive with the application fees, legal costs, and documentation requirements. Everything just added up so quickly. Even after submitting everything, they kept requesting for more and more evidence. Therefore, this process is never really guaranteed approval, and that does create fear in one's life. Another major issue is the border management. In recent years, large numbers of people have arrived at the border. At the same time, requiring the government to balance security, humanitarian concerns, and legal processing all at once. Immigration reform is discussed frequently because immigration policies does not only affect immigrants but also the U.S. citizen. Currently, there are an estimate of 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States, many of whom have lived here for many years. Immigrants also play a significant role in the economy. Studies have shown that immigrants make up about 17% of the U.S. workforce, and in certain industries, the numbers can even be higher. For example, in the agriculture, Immigrants account for over half of all farm workers, helping with the cultivation and harvesting of food that supports the entire country. Because of this, immigration law influences employment, local communities, and public service such as education and healthcare. Most immigration reform proposals focus on a few key areas. One, border security, which includes how borders are monitored and how individuals are processed when they arrive. Another area is pathways to legal status or citizenship, particularly long-term residents. Reform efforts also addresses asylum and refugee policies, including how cases are reviewed and how quickly decisions are made. Lastly, work visas programs are discussed because many industry depends heavily on immigrants' labor, because most of the U.S. citizens don't find these jobs appeasing, and therefore it must be outsourced. For me, immigration matters because I came to a country where I knew no one, and I had to rebuild my life from the ground up. I made this decision not only for my mental health, but also for the better opportunities and better education for myself and my kids. In conclusion, immigration reform is about understanding how the immigration system works, identifying its challenges, and finding ways to improve it. By learning about the immigration reform, we can better understand how it affects immigrants, families, and even U.S. citizens across the United States. Thank you.